When I heard about manifestation and the law of assumption, the very first thing that I wanted to manifest was money. I had a partner, I had a lot of other good things in my life. Money was the thing I really, really wanted and I really, really needed. So I applied all these manifestation techniques such as scripting and visualization and affirmation. And guess what? Nothing happened. There was no extra money coming in, there was no lottery win, there was nothing. And for a long, long time, I was really struggling with manifesting the money until I discovered what it was really about, and then it started working. So in this video, I want to share with you the things that I know now didn't work and why they didn't work, as well as what I actually did in order to make it work and to manifest the money and the abundance into my life. Hi, for those of you who are new here, my name is Maddie. I'm a biologist, an author, and a shamanic practitioner. And on my channel is all about shamanism and how you can implement shamanic methods in your everyday life. If you have never really heard about manifestation and shamanism in a combination, there are a lot of videos here on my channel where you can go deeper into the topic, or you just watch this video until the end and you will understand why these things actually come together and how they work with each other. As I said, the one thing I really wanted to manifest was money. And I wanted to manifest because I felt like I don't have a lot of money. I was always kind of struggling. I always felt I don't have enough. Although I grew up in a household where it's not that that I didn't feel we had a lot of money. It was more like there was a lot of arguing about money. My parents had to work really, really hard to make money. And it was, I don't know, the topic of money was constantly present, and it was weird. I felt like that was such a big importance that I couldn't even really grasp it as a kid. And I also never really learned how to handle money on my own. I was not given any pocket money, so I had no really chance to develop these skills on my own. So money was always a weird thing for me. And although I experienced a lot of things in my life over the time where I had money for it, I always felt I don't have enough money. The things I wanted to do, I was not able really to do in a way that I felt, wow, I have the money to buy this stuff. And so consequently, when I heard about manifestation, I was like, yay, finally, finally a method that will help me to bring in the money that I always wanted. So I started affirming in that specific regard. I wanted to manifest 30,000 euros by the end of the month. That was, I think, a couple years ago when I started doing that. So I was affirming, I was writing down, I have $30,000 or 30,000 euros in my bank account. Thank you so much, universe, for giving me this money. And I was writing, I'm doing all the techniques. Nothing happened. Not this month, not the next month, after half a year. I was still doing my affirmation, still doing the scripting. Nothing happened. And so I started researching what is not working, what I'm doing wrong. And since the last couple years, I really dove deep into manifestation and shamanism in order to understand how does that work? Like, why was it not working for me? Why could I not manifest money? And here are the three things that I learned why it didn't work and how to do it better. What finally really clicked for me and what changed my situation now into a situation where I feel abundant, where I feel rich, in a inner way, in a material way, also in a spiritual way, and where I always know I have what I need, and if I don't have it right now, I know it will come when I need it. So the first thing is that you are not restricting yourself to money as a form of abundance. What do I mean? Yes, we want money, but why do you want the money? It is probably because you want to have the money to do things, to experience things, to feel secure, to be able to pay your rent, your invoices. This all gives you security. That all gives you a sense of, you are taken care of and you can take care of yourself, that your problems are that they can be solved. You can buy, services with money. You can help or hire someone who helps you with your problems when you have money. So it gives you opportunities. And this is basically what we are longing for. The experiences, the opportunities, the security, it gives us a certain feeling. So the first thing that is important, it is always about the feeling that you are after. And you have to feel it first before you can really attract it into your life. So when I compare this with how I approached it, for me, I always felt poor. I felt I never have enough. I felt I need the money. I need to manifest. I don't have it. I felt lack. I felt insecure. I felt, yeah, all these things. I felt even desperate that, I don't have what I want. And from that point of view and from that state, I tried to manifest things. And the more it was not working, the more desperate I became. I was like, oh no, I really need that money. I don't know what to do. And so I started doing more affirmations, doing more visualization, but always from a situation where I felt anxious, where I was like, oh my God, this has to work, this has to work. So there was no peace in my heart. There was no sense of, okay, I'm okay. There was no relaxation. And this is the key if you want to manifest, that you already feel it before you can see it in your 3D reality. And so how do you do this? By start feeling abundant. And you can do that even without you have a lot of money in your bank account. As I said, money is not the only form of abundance. I actually did a shamanic journey with my spirits and asked them, what is money? What is that actually? And they said it is potential. It holds potential. Makes sense. As I said, the potential of buying something, the potential of having an experience, getting a service, getting help. But money is kind of like the in-between. It's the link. You can actually go directly to the service. You can go directly to the experience. And many times you don't even need the money to do this. So what I started doing then was I was really becoming aware of the abundance in my life and all the situations where I was provided with things I needed, not only in the form of money, but in the form of opportunities, of gifts. For example, the other day I had a friend and he said, Maddie, I have an extra freezer. Do you need a freezer? I was like, well, we have a freezer, so I don't need one. But if you don't know what to do with it, you can just, put it in our garage. Maybe I'll sell it later, or who knows? Maybe we need a second one. I don't know. Just put it there. And so my husband and this friend, they actually went on vacation. So I was alone at home for a couple of days. It was in the middle of the summer. I think that was last summer. And we had our freezer full. It was fully packed with meat, with vegetables, with ice cream, all the good stuff. And so lo and behold, I walked into the kitchen and I was like, why is the floor wet? And what's happening here? So I saw that our freezer, the old one, was broken. It was not working anymore. And I couldn't figure out what was the problem, but I could literally watch my food melting away. And I was like, damn, what I'm going to do now? I have no idea. I was even thinking of maybe I'm calling my neighbor, or maybe I can put my stuff into their fridge just for a little bit. And then I realized, wait a minute, I just have a freezer in my garage that is huge. Everything will fit in there. So I plugged it in. It was perfectly working. Within like half an hour, that thing was cold. And I put all the stuff from the old freezer into the new one. And this is what I mean with, it's not only about money. It's about that the things will come to you when you need them. So focus on abundance. It is abundance that you want. You want to have the feeling that when you need something, you are able to get it. This is what money also helps us with. When we need something, whatever it is, we can buy it with money. We make resources available. We have that potential. And it is not only about money, all the situations where someone gifted you something. Remember that maybe you said, oh, I actually need a new couch. And then someone says, oh, I have a couch extra. You can have it, right? Or I had someone, it's also about exchange. I recently went to someone who is an osteopath, and in order to get treatment. And I was like, the sessions were really expensive. It was like, I don't know if that's a good thing, but I wanted to invest it in me. And without me even saying something, he offered me to say, you don't have to pay me. but you can actually teach me something about animal communication. I want to learn how to communicate with my animal. So can we do this in exchange? And I said, yeah, sure, right? So these things can also just show up in your life. So don't restrict yourself to money, but become abundant in a feeling where the universe is taking care of you and will take care of you in any way. So whatever you need, it's always there for you. Maybe not always in a way you want to, but it is there and it will provide for you. So just having that feeling of abundance without even having the money on the bank account will already give you that that energy and that potential to attract opportunities, gifts, invitations, all the good stuff. And once I started really feeling this abundance, looking into my life and seeing how many things I already have, I have a beautiful relationship, I have an amazing husband, I have 2 amazing cats. I said cats, not kids. And this all just made me realize like how much there is already in my life and how much gifts I already received. There's also something that Eckhart Tolle says in his book, The Power of Now. When you look in that very moment, is there a problem for you? Is there something lacking? I would say most of the cases it's not. Like, it's all right. Even if you have an invoice right now on your plate or on your table, you don't know how to pay, just let it sit there. Let it sit there and give out the intention of like, please, I need to pay this. Can we make this happen? So just really get into that energy of abundance. And the more I did that, the more I realized how abundant I am. And it has nothing to do with money. The more I attracted things into my life. The other day, I just won a workshop worth 600 euros by a YouTuber who's also doing manifestation videos. I signed up for one of her challenges and I won a workshop with her. And it just came in the right moment, at the right time, providing me the right information that I needed at that very weekend. And these things happened so many times now that I'm really in that abundant state. Also having, more clients coming in, people calling me, it's like, I have heard about you. Can I have a shamanic session with you? Or I was gifted, like, I don't know what was the other day. Just so many things that came into my life. I was invited for lunch and dinner the other day. And this is all a form of abundance. And the more you become aware of it, the more you are having that gratitude for all the things you already have in your life and you got so far. And you look back into your life, you manifested this all along. Even when I thought I was bad with money, I manifested a lot of things. I applied for a lot of like funding for my research. I was able to go on amazing journeys. I was in Hawaii, I was in Mexico, I was in Tasmania, all paid by the university or other funders for me to do some research there. And even one time I got even paid to go to a conference to Bali, and that conference was not even happening. They just forgot to take me off their email list. And I was from over 200 participants. I was the only person who was not notified that this is not happening. And yet, so I was there. I was like, where's the conference? And they told me, didn't they tell you the conference was not taking place? They canceled it. And so I had a free paid vacation because I could prove I didn't know better. They didn't inform me that the conference was not happening. So the university was still paying for my flight and my visit there. Of course, not the whole time, all my hotel costs, but just for me being there. And so many times I had this experience, but the more I was conscious about it and the more I realized that the universe is really taking care of me, my spirits, my spiritual helpers are taking care of me. They provide me with everything I need. The more relaxed I became, and I realized I have everything I need. I don't need to feel a lack. There is everything already out there. So the first thing, as I said, don't restrict yourself on money as one form of abundance. It is just one form of abundance. There is so much more in abundance, and you can see that in nature too. If you look out of nature, at the right time, there is so much happening, like in spring, when the flowers start opening and then the bees have what they need. It is like a constant giving, a constant circle. There's a lot of, I would say, friendship amongst trees and fungi. They support each other with nutrients and help each other. And so there is so much in nature that shows you things are taking care of each other. We are all part of a huge network. On a more biological level, is like a really a nutrients network, a nutrient cycle where nothing is wasted and always something provided. But also, if you look down into the ocean, if you look into Antarctica or whatever, there is life there. You wouldn't think that that anything could live there, in the cold, freezing water or in the hot water deep down in the ocean. But there is life. There is so much abundance, so many life forms. And once I realized that, I was like, yep, here we go. Also, just you being here right now, this is already a huge lottery win. Imagine of all the little sperm cells of your dad, and that one little egg, that the one sperm that carries your specific DNA, it made it. You're already a winner. And why wouldn't you be able to take care of yourself in your life? Just because it hadn't happened in the past doesn't mean that this is also your future. So that brings me to the second point. You have to discover your beliefs around money and abundance and your self-worth. And this is something that I really had to understand over the last couple of years about manifestation, that maybe you can, but I think it's much harder to manifest from a point of view like an old self concept. If you are always felt like you don't have enough, you are broke to the bones, that you are not able to make money, I think it's very, very hard just through affirmations and just through visualization to become a millionaire, because the jump is just so high. And you are manifesting still from that old personality of being broke, not being good with money, having a past where you always struggled with money. Then getting into that mindset of a millionaire seems to be just huge. And that's why with me back then, I had the problem that, I was affirming 30,000 euros having in the bank. It's coming from somewhere. They're very nice. It felt nice. But I didn't believe it because I never had something happen to me like that before. Why would it happen now? Right? And my brain were like, you are not good with money. You were never good with money. You spend too much money. You don't know how to invest money. You never made a lot of money. What do you have to offer that could be valuable to people? So that was that constant chit chat in my head. And I was not even aware of most of it at the time. So I really had to sit down and said, okay, here we go again. I know this whole belief system. It seems like an old broken record. People keep telling me about the belief system, but it is really the key that you become aware of. Who do you think you are? What is your story about yourself? What is your self-concept? Write it all down. What do you think about yourself? What do you think about money? What are your beliefs around money, about abundance, about rich people? Write it all down. And not only for one little moment in 1 minute, just over the next week or 2 weeks or a whole month, maybe just take with you a journal and write down every thought you have about money and abundance and your self-concept. Write it all down. And once you collected all these beliefs around it, even if you think, oh, but I've maybe already done this, like 1,000 times. I know. But a lot of beliefs are really deep down, and they only come out in situations just, briefly. And there's like just that one little thought where you think like, oh, I can't afford this. I can't afford this. That will never work with money. So write it all down so that you really have once and for all everything you think about yourself and money on paper, and then go through it to see, does that belief hold any meaning, hold water? Usually it doesn't. When you think, with me, the big thing is it is hard to make money, because that's what I experienced when I was a kid. I saw my parents busting their asses, going out, working like crazy, many, many hours, being, tired just from making ends meet, barely ends meet. Also, my grandparents, they came from a generation where they experienced the Second World War. They had nothing. My grandma was a refugee. My grandpa too. He came from Slovenia originally, and so they ended up here in a little village around Potsdam in Brandenburg. They had nothing when they came here, nothing. And eventually they were lucky because someone gifted them a piece of land where they could start build something, and they had like a little farm and all that. and see this, someone gifted them something. They had a potential, an opportunity all of a sudden. And then they built from there their wealth, but with their bare hands. And it was always stressful for them and a lot of work. So that's how I grew up, seeing that making money and building an existence for yourself is connected to a lot of work, to hard work, to stress, to physical labor, and to not having a peace of mind, to not being able to relax. That's how I connected it with it. And I was not ready to do this. I was like, I don't want to go crazy about this. I don't want to spend 10 hours somewhere in a like industry where I always do the same things just to get paid like minimum wage. I don't want this. And I felt trapped that if I'm not doing this, then I will always stay broke. That was my belief. That was my fear. And so I wrote everything out. I wrote everything down. Also, just looking back at all the situations that happened to me in my childhood where I, was not happy with money. We eventually, I wouldn't say that we were poor. I don't think so. Like my parents always, provided me with clothing, with a lot of toys. I was the only kid, so I think I was spoiled a bit. My grandma always gave me money when I needed it, but there was always a condition to it. I had to be a good kid. When I was nice, when I was a good kid, then I got money. When I did something bad, I didn't get any money. I didn't get any pocket money at all. So I always had to ask my parents for money, which made it hard for me later on to, learn how to deal with money, how to manage my money, how to invest, and how to take care of it. I had no idea how that works. So I had to really learn about it. But until then, my self-concept was that I'm not good with money. I'm not good with numbers. I was always bad in mathematics in school. So that was another story I told myself. I'm not good with numbers. And all this stuff. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to make money. That was one of the biggest beliefs that I had about myself. And when I looked back in my life and I was like, is that actually true? I mean, there were a lot of situations where I made money. I was gifted money. I was even making money with things I loved, like writing my first book gave me over, I would say it was actually 30 grand for just writing it, plus all the sales that I had from it. And that was something that I loved to do. I loved writing my book, and it was just one time, investing. And that was a leverage that just until today, I'm still getting money from my book. Right. So I saw it is possible. And I still did believe it's like, yeah, that was just, being lucky once. But it is all about the self-concept. And the more I understood it, the more I realized that my life became much richer. Not so much in the beginning with, really pure money, but more with opportunities that someone else called me and invited me to a lecture, and I was given money for this, and so on and so forth. So there was a lot of opportunities coming along my way. And the more I saw this, I realized I'm always provided. I am provided with everything that I need. And so that feeling I was actually longing for, that security and that relief of, wow, I don't need to do things I don't want to just to make money. That was another belief that I have to do things I don't want to in order to make money. And I didn't want to. I was afraid of it. That's why I was just chasing money so much. That all went away, and I just felt a lot of peace around the situation. I didn't freak out. I was not freaking out anymore when an invoice came and I didn't know how to pay this in this very moment, because I knew that once I have to pay it, something will come up and I know how to do it. And lo and behold, it was always like that. I'll give you another example, and I swear that everything I tell you here is real and it's true. I'm not making anything up. Last year, my husband and I, we had like kind of a tax audition, or there was something with taxes from his company. And our tax advisor, I don't know if that's the right word in English, he made a big mistake. He forgot to tell us something that we should have put into our taxation invoicing, whatever. So we owed 8,000 euros of taxes to the government that we had to pay immediately. And we didn't know where to take this from. But there was one thing that we bought a boat a couple months earlier. It was an old nice boat, but there was a lot that we needed to do. So it was just a little hobby of ours that we bought it, I think, for 5,000 euros, and we put in a little bit of sweat and labor and work and a little bit of money and materials to make it look nicer for us. And I said, Eris, to my husband, what if we just sell the boat and then we could have the money right now? And he said, yeah, come on, Maddie. It was in the middle of the summer. It was not the best. Well, that's what he said. It's not the best season to sell a boat right now. And, we just bought it for 5,000 euros. We could maybe ask for 6,000 and we still need 2,000. And I said, just let me try it. I feel this could be the solution for our problem. So I put it on eBay. And I'm not kidding you. I think even the same day, we got a call from someone. He said, I saw the boat and this is exactly what I'm looking for. We put it in for 8,000 and he said, can I come see it? I want to really have this boat. And I said, sure, come by. He looked at it and you could see his eyes were just lighting up. And immediately he said, yeah, I want to have this boat. So eventually he bought that boat for 8,000 euros without complaining. He was so happy to have found the specific model, and we were just happy because we could pay our taxes. And it just made me realize that, yeah, there's always a solution and I am provided. But that was really, I had to make these experiences in order to trust more, in order to trust myself, to trust the universe, to trust my helping spirits, that I'm really provided. And the more I saw that it is working, I got more of it because I really believed, yeah, it is working. It is possible that everything comes to me when I need it. And this is really abundance, that you're able to do the things you have to do when you have to do them. So the third point then is how are you getting into the feeling of abundance? What I did, and if you have never heard about it before, then you might watch some of my other videos as well. As I said, I'm a shamanic practitioner, so I am in touch with spirits, not with any spirits, but with my helping spirits. And these are my spirit animals, my power animals, also different word for it, my spiritual helpers. And when I go on a shamanic journey, I meet my spiritual helpers. I can ask them every question. They always have the right answer for me, an answer that will bring balance into my life and that will benefit not only me, but also my environment. And so I can always be sure that I have help, I have access to information. And again, this is also a big form of abundance. So the more I worked shamanically, the more I did my shamanic journeys, and I realized I have my helping spirits around me. They are supporting me, they are guiding me, they are giving me information, they helping me. Well, I never felt that I was lacking anything anymore. And this relationship got stronger and stronger. And that's why I'm really recommending, if you want to manifest money and you have no idea of how it feels like to be abundant, how it feels like to be a rich person because you never experienced that, it's the other question, how should I know how this feels like? Then you can maybe start with shamanic journeying, also just, basic with meditation. You sit in silence and you close your eyes and you start visualizing. This is why visualization is a very powerful technique, but you have to do it right. Sit down, close your eyes, breathe in, breathe out, and realize that you are not only a human, that you have a spirit. It is about the self-concept. And when you realize that you're not just limited to your human body, your human view, but you have a spirit, and that spirit is actually able to connect to everything around it and go on shamanic journeys to meet other spirits in other realms and having amazing experiences, then your world, you will open up, and eventually you'll realize, like, wow, everything is possible. But this is something you have to experience. Your logic mind will not allow you to go there just by thinking it through, because the mind will say, it's not possible. It's not possible that you have a power animal that is invisible that'll help you. Are you crazy or what? Well, once you make the experience, and I made a lot of videos about this, if you want to, have more information on it, once you experience it, you will realize it is real. And it's the same thing with the visualizations. So when you sit down, you close your eyes, preferably do this in the morning, right after you woke up and or before you go to bed, because this will help you to change your awareness and your state of being. You are not so logical driven. You're not into that whole everyday experience, but more in a so-called non-ordinary reality. You already have the foot into the non-ordinary realms where everything is possible. And I keep saying this because this is really something my spirits are emphasizing. Manifestation has to do with shamanic work because everything starts in the non-ordinary reality. The non-ordinary reality is the worlds where there is no physical appearance, there is no material. Like says, I'm keep saying this is the middle world where everything has a body and a form and is materialized. And then we have the upper and the lower world where there is only non-ordinary reality, meaning there is no materialization, there is no time, not as we know it here from the middle world. And when you go on the shamanic journeys, you are in these non-ordinary realms and you can experience everything you want. It is like having a lucid dream where you know you dream and it's like, wow, everything is possible. But what if this is not a dream, but this is where reality starts? This is when you experience it in your dream consciously with all the motions that if you already experienced it, it was real. And so eventually, if you take that feeling with you when you wake up and you're in the middle world again, in the ordinary reality, that you have it, you experience it, you know how it feels like, and you can keep that feeling until you see that in your 3D reality, things are also coming to, reality, fruition. So as I said, how are you going to do this? You sit down, you close your eyes, you breathe in, you breathe out, you make sure that your nervous system is going down and calm, because the worst thing you can do, or I think it's one of the worst things if you want to manifest, trying to manifest from a state where you are anxious, where you are afraid, where you're desperate, where you're depressed, it really won't work, because you can't put yourself in that good mood because you just don't feel it. You're not a good place in that moment. And that's okay. You can still feel all these feelings. It doesn't mean that your manifestation won't come just because you're not happy all the time. Not at all. That would be so-called, I don't know, emotional bypassing or something. And, feel the feelings that are coming. This is also when you change between your self-concepts. Sometimes you have to grieve a little. You have to grieve what happened to you in the past, why these, worldviews are in you, why you think you are not worth anything. There is a reason for that. And once you realize it, it might make you really sad, and that's okay. You can grieve over it. But eventually you will, once you grieved enough, you will see, okay, this is the past, but now I'm someone else. I processed it. I realized that was the past. It's not true anymore. I am worth a lot. I am, I have a lot of skills. I am a nice person. So just really become aware of who do you think you are and what are your own values for yourself. But again, back to the practical part of this video, sit down, close your eyes, breathe in, breathe out, and really try to relax, make yourself relax. You can do this with me right now if you want to. Just close your eyes and then breathe in, breathe out. And so if you want to manifest more money, then imagine a situation where this is the case. I never really had it with the lottery, but what I thought was possible is that, I might get an offer for writing another book, because that happened to me once. I know it's possible. So I imagine, I closed my eyes and then someone said, I really liked your first book and I want you to write a book for me and I'll give you like 50,000 euros for it. And it's a really cool topic. So do you want to do this? And so I went into that situation where it's like, wow, I'm able to make money with the things I love, a lot of money. And I'm also providing service and something valuable to the world. And then just bath in that situation and feel how it will feel like for you. For me, it would be just joy and relaxation that, wow, how cool is that? I can do something I love. I don't need to do something I don't want to do. I could sit there and write and be excited about it. I can learn more about writing and the topic, and I'm getting paid on top of it. I don't need to worry about money the next couple of years. I'm financially free. And I can feel, how it's like, oh, that just takes so much pressure off my shoulders. And it's like, whew. And try to linger in that moment as much as you can. See it from your perspective. Don't try to see it as a scene where you look from outside, but really it's you, as if you would experience it in the real world. And this, what we just did here, is real. It's nothing that we just imagined. It's nothing that we just wished for. You experienced the situation. I picked that specific opportunity in my visualization in the non-ordinary reality to be something that I want to be happening for me in the 3D reality. And I can rest assured that this will come. And the more you do it, the more you stay in that energy, you will see all of a sudden things will change and move and shift for you. And this is instant. Just because now, okay, no one called me yet. It's just like, hello, Madeline, I want you to write my book for 30,000 or 50,000 euros. It doesn't mean that's not happening, right? So just relax into it. And what I also can recommend when you're more advanced with that, that's just a normal visualization. When you learn about shamanic journeying and you have the contact to your spirit animals and your spiritual helpers, then you can actually ask your spirits to bring you and show you this specific version of yourself. Because all manifestation is kind of dialing into that opportunity, that version, that reality that already exists somewhere out there. And I know it's hard to grasp it, because when we're only operating from a logical point of view, a logical mind, the idea that everything already exists somewhere at the same time now, and you can just jump into that timeline, is like, I don't know about you, but that's like crazy. Once I did the shamanic journeying, once I experienced shamanic journeying where this exactly happens, you can be everywhere, you can do anything. As I said, it's like lucid dreaming. You are closing your eyes and you say, I am in, I don't know, Hawaii. Then you're in Hawaii. And just with realizing that there are also different versions of everything out there. Sometimes I ask my spirits, please show me the version of myself who is abundant, who is financially free, who lives her highest version of herself. And then I see myself, maybe doing something, writing something. That's how I figured out what I want to do with my life. And then there is a technique called merging, where you really fuse with this version of yourself and become that person. And then you come back from the shamanic journey and you might feel different. And so this is how you can access these different timelines without trying to do mental gymnastics, but just really go there, experience it, and then bring it back into the here and now, and embodying this energy, embodying that person you want to be. And the more you do this, the more you really see the changes in your life. I can guarantee you this, because I've seen it happening a lot of times with myself, with other people. But you have to understand that it's not about the techniques of manifestation. It's not about the visualization. It's not about the affirmation. It's not about the scripting. Many people just do this from a point of desperation because they want something so badly in their lives, without understanding who they really are and how they have to make a shift in order to become that person that they want to be in the here and now. And then everything will come to them. For them, it's more like, okay, I'm writing everything will come to me, and then I'm this person. No, it's the other way around. But the difficult part is to wrap your mind around this, that how I'm becoming this person now. How? Because I don't have the money. It's not in my bank account. No, and this is the leap of faith you have to do, and the understanding that everything starts in the non-ordinary reality, in the realms that is not materialized yet. This is where things form. You can see it as like a creation kitchen, right? So everything you see around you, that was an idea first, the idea of a computer, right? That is not something that just popped out of thin air. Someone thought about this before, had an idea about it. And so this is the same thing with you and your life. Map it out. Map out what you want to feel, how you want to have your life. Another good example or another good technique is that you write down on a piece of paper your most ideal day. How would that look like? If you could pick from all the different lives, from all the different timetables that you want to experience in your life, how would look like a make an average day. You wake up in the morning beside a beautiful person, this is the partner of my life. And then you are waking up and you look out of the window and you see mountains and ocean, whatever it is you want to see. You want to live in Hawaii, you see the Haleakala, I don't know. Just map it out. What would be the ideal version of it? And how would you feel going through your day? For me, it was really just being able to decide in every minute what I want to do next, that there is no one out there who will tell me what I have to do, that I don't feel any pressure from the outside, but I can just be relaxed and secure, and I feel safe. I feel safe with money. I don't feel rushed in my life. For me, peace of mind, peace of my body, peace in my environment, that was one of the most important things. And I never had it. I never had it in my life. That's why I wanted it so much. That's why I wanted the money for me to buy myself into a peaceful life, because I knew once I have the money, then I can just be the boss of my own time. I don't need to work anymore. I don't need to do things I don't want to. And the idea of not being in peace or not having peace was something that I experienced when I was a kid. It was always loud where I lived. My parents always had TV on, always had radio on. There was a lot of arguing. My grandparents, my grandpa, my grandma, she was sick. She eventually, when my grandpa died, she developed like a mental disorder where she was constantly calling my grandpa, although he already died. So she was loud every day, every night, constantly calling, and I felt like I'm going insane until I was old enough to move out. But I never had a place where I felt safe, also where I felt in peace and I could just relax. It was always pressure. And this I created my entire life because that's what I knew. Life's supposed to be like that, until I realized it's not what I want. And it's also not who I am. I don't need a lot of noise around me. I don't need having TV and radio around me all the time, but the opposite. And so realizing who you are, what you want, and then creating this for yourself, also starting within you. I had to find that peace within me. And there was a lot of turmoil in me before I felt that peace. I had to go through a lot of mud digging, going through all the emotions, all traumas. And I don't say that this has to be like that, but for me, the peace, feeling that inner peace was what I wanted. And I knew I had to go this way to really feel this peace. And now I feel it. And I feel also that my environment got much, much more peaceful. I have just the way my life flows is way more peaceful. I spend a lot of time in nature. The shamanic work gives me a lot of peace, mental peace and clarity and grounding. So I found the things that were supporting this for me. And it was really like kind of attracting more of it, what I wanted, but having it first within me. So to wrap this all up, first of all, money is just one form of abundance. And abundance means that you are able to do the things you have to do when you have to do them, and you have what you need. It doesn't need to be in form of money. It can be in a form of relationship. It can be in forms of to other people who give you things, who help you out, who give you opportunities, your own skills, your own creativity. If you have an idea of oh, I have a problem, how I'm going to do this, and you have an idea. And for me, this is abundance, because you have the solution to a problem that you have. It's a potential that you can work with. And specifically when now later on you might go and learn about shamanic journeying, or your shamanic helpers, your spiritual helpers, that they will provide you with answers. And this is an amazing abundance, right? So first thing. The second thing is really discover your beliefs. Who are you? What's your self-concept? And then work on your self-concept and really become the person you want to be in the future now. How would that version of you live their life? This is the most important thing. And just write that down as well. And the third thing is you got to experience this abundance. You got to experience that you are a part of a bigger connection, that everything is connected with each other. And that for me really helped me when I started learning about the shamanic work, about my spirit animals. If that's something you want to try out, then yeah, as I said, there are a lot of videos here on my channel, and you can also always contact me on that. I have my website is in development, but there will be online classes on this and everything you need to know how this all works. And until then, you can always just do a visualization, meditation, where you bring yourself to that place. You already have what you want. This is basically, you know, kind of the same thing, just maybe a little less powerful, but it's also working. Alrighty then, I hope this video was helpful for you, that you learned more about abundance, and please let me know if these tips will actually bring you now the results that you haven't seen so far with manifesting money and abundance. I would love to hear about that. And if you want to learn more about shamanism, as I said, you know, I have a huge, no, not so huge, but there are already a couple videos about this topic on my YouTube channel. And if you want to have a one-on-one coaching, a shamanic session, for example, or you have like questions, you want to meet your spirit animal, then you can send me an email. The link and the information is down below in the box. And I would love to help you. And until then, I wish you a beautiful time. We see each other in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.